Hey guys, it's Maymay, and it's time to do the card that Melody challenged me to. Now, if you saw our show on Monday, This Crafty Life Live, you'll know that Melody challenged me to create this card without the cricket, the one that does all this fancy stuff. So it looks like this one it's popped up, looks like this one it's laid down for you to give it to somebody, and so I'm going to show you how to do this today. Now, it was not easy because there are videos out there on YouTube that show you different ways to do this than I am today, like using your cutting board and things like that. I wanted to make this as super simple, and I wanted to do this for folks that have no fancy tools. That's the plan for today. So no fancy tools needed, even though you think that you do. Now, my card base is an A2 card base, so it's 5.5 by 8.5, and when you fold it in half, you get exactly an A2 card. So the first thing we want to do is score it in the A2 spot, which is at 4.25. Now, that's the first thing. So I'm gonna get my score mark done. Now, I'm probably going to keep a lot of steps in on this video because I want you to see everything we're doing, okay? So it'll be probably longer than you're used to, but that's okay. All right, now I'm going to take this card base and line it up on my cutting mat to where the score line and one line line up, because I'm going to be doing a lot of eyeballing, okay? And I think this is the best way to do it. I have a piece of washi tape that I have put on the back of like my blue jeans, and then I stuck it down here and there to make it not quite so sticky, because we don't want this to mess up our card when we lift it off. So I don't want it to be super sticky, just sticky enough to stick down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball center the middle of this card, but I'm using my grid mat to help me accomplish that, and it may not be perfect, and I'm not going to stress about it. Okay, this is exactly how I did my first one, and I'm not going to stress about it. So now I've got that in place, and I can move it around. I'm not going to stick this down because this is really just a spot, just a holding spot for me. Now you need 2 pieces of cardstock, cut 2 different sizes. I'll have all these sizes on my blog too, so you'll be able to get these if you need them. But 4.25 by 3 is the big one. Then 4 1/8 by 2 7/8 is the small one. Basically, this one is 1/8 of an inch smaller because it kind of sits in here. These are just templates. They don't have to be pretty. Actually, some big old cheap thick cardstock is the best way to go with these guys. I already have mine done, and I want to show you the next step. So I take the bigger one of the 2, and I want to find the center. For me, this just makes this easy. We're just basically going to create crosshairs, to be honest with you, so we can get an idea of how to eyeball this. The cool thing is, once you create these one time, these templates, you can make these cards over and over again using these same templates. So now I've folded this in half and gotten my crosshairs, okay? So if you don't like eyeballing and you need it to be perfectly center, use your ruler that has a center function on it, has the 0 in the center. Line the edges up, get your center point, and you can know exactly where the middle is, and then you can come around and do the other side as well and make sure you have it definitely exactly in the center, okay? But if you don't mind, you can just eyeball it, which is what I typically do. All right, I'm going to straighten this up a little bit. I feel like it's a little crooked, and this is the bigger of the 2 templates, okay? Now trace it. Now you can certainly make this card using dies, and I'll be more than happy to show you that if you'd like to see it. Just let me know in the comments if you want to see this done using dies, but for today's video, I wanted to do it with no fancy tools. Now notice I traced, but I didn't worry about where the tape is. We're not going to worry about that at all. We're just going to trace around and be done. Now take that second piece, which is the smaller one, lay it inside and trace. This is going to give you that little bit of a separation we need for this card to do exactly what it's supposed to do. Now, I don't feel this card is a mass-produced card. I don't think this is a card you're going to make 50 of. But if you wanted to send something really special to somebody, maybe to put on their desk, or maybe it's a birthday sentiment for somebody that's real special and you don't mind spending some time on, this is a fun one for that. Now, I'm going to use my ruler, and typically I would use the metal side of the Tim Holtz ruler for cutting. But today I'm going to use this side because I need to be able to see with more precision. I'm going to slice on the outside line first from the top of our trace to the tape, under the tape, to the bottom of our trace. So we're just using our trace line. That's all we're doing. So I'm going to come here and do this outside line real quick. And you're going to cut all of the lines we traced, skipping the tape. You need that to stay there. So I've got those two side lines cut. Now I'm just going to turn this around so that I can get to it this way and do the other two. Now that you've got those two sides, or actually all of your lines sliced outside of the tape, now you're going to come right back in beside the tape and cut so that that piece will come out. Okay, so right beside the tape, you're releasing that center part of those two lines that you cut. You really need this gap for this card to work correctly. Then, when you remove this, you might find there's some places like that's hanging just a little bit. Just take your knife and release it. It's really hard to get exactly perfect with your knife on those corners, but you can do it. That one came right out. Okay, so that's our first step. Now let's go to the next one. Remove your tape super easily. Even though you got some of the sticky off the tape and everything to make this go easier, it still can stick. So I like to lay it flat and remove it just like this, really slow. And then I don't throw this tape away because it's still very sticky. Use it for your next card. So now, in keeping with my kind of cheater way of doing this, now I'm going to lay this card into my scoreboard and I'm going to score at the closest line to where our tape was. I'm not measuring anything. I'm just looking at the closest line to where my tape was and scoring. So I can even go down here and do this, and I'm not even thinking about, measurement. I'm just scoring. Now this part can get confusing, okay? Depending on the size of the tape that you used, you need to add that in a score line here, okay? Not behind it, but in front of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count these little notches. So here's my score mark, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's my score mark. So now I'm just going to count over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then score. Same thing at the bottom, count over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll be at the same point this way, and you just score this one just the same. Score, score, score. See that? And then score, score, score. All right. That's my cheater method. That's the way we're going to cheat to get this card done. Now, I'm not going to fold any of my lines just yet. If you noticed on my sample card, let me bring it over and show you. I have these little white stitch lines because I love stitch lines. Look how cute that is back there. I'm going to do that here and show you what I did to make it happen. I used my white jelly roll pen and my ruler because I just think that's going to be the easiest thing. So, white jelly roll pen. Line up the ruler, and I'm eyeballing this. You can measure it perfect if you want to. I'm getting about 1/8 of an inch away, and then I'm just going to use my ruler to help me because I'm going to make a lot of stitch lines, and I want it to be, pretty neat. And this way I don't even have to think. I can just go and go and go, and then I'm going to come right on this side of my little frame there and do the same thing again, but only the size of the frame this time. Just like that, okay? Then I'm going to turn the card and continue doing the same thing. Dots on the outside, dots on the frame, all the way around. So now you can see I've stitched all the way around, and it just added a little something. I'm not going to stitch the center, and I'll show you why. So this piece of paper is 4 by 2 3/4, and it fits right inside that panel perfectly for us to be able to put a little mat there. So this is the one I'm going to use, and I'm going to do a little stamping real quick. So I wrote on the back side so you guys could see that measurement, but I'm going to stamp on the other side. This whole card that I did today uses 2 of my stamp sets. It's these 2. This is Hair Peeking and Happy. These are available in my store. So I'm going to pull out the little peeking bunny right here, as well as some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And I'm going to stamp him in this little corner, peeking over, just like you saw in the original. So he's going to peek like this. Super cute. I just love this little guy. Now the sentiment for this card comes from the same stamp set. This is Hi Honey Bunny. I think that's cute on the front there. So I've got him good and stamped. Now I also did his little paw print. I think it was cute here in this corner. So I'm going to grab the little paw print and ink it up. And I just did 2. One kind of here. And then one like it was a step a little further up. You could go crazy and do all kinds of paw prints. It would be super cute. So here you see all of the other pieces I'm going to use to decorate my card front with, and I'm going to show you what I used to get this. First, you see this pile of flowers? I made those using 2 punches. These punches are from Martha Stewart, and they look just like this. So that's how we got our flowers. Then you see this butterfly here. I made them with another Martha Stewart punch, which is a butterfly. Love that. And then my carrots. These carrots are the stamp from the hair peeking set. It's this little carrot and this little carrot. I did 3 of each. And instead of fussy cutting the tops, I used my Martha Stewart branch punch and made some little green carrot tops there. Then this one is using that happy set, and I'll show you that little banner. You can see the banner at the bottom here, and I used happy Easter, which is right there, to make that. And then I punched a little yellow butterfly, but I felt like it needed some life. So this is a white glitter butterfly that I'm going to layer on top of that little butterfly just to be cute. So to do the carrots, I think this is pretty easy to explain. I'm going to use some art glitter glue and then just put a little glue on the back and glue the branch down to the back. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's a branch and they grow out different all the time. As long as you get that on the back and let that dry. And I'm going to do that to all of them. For these little carrots, I want to show you what I did. I took the branch and this last little sprig here, I just popped that off like this. And then I used the top portion for the little carrot because it just doesn't need quite as much branch as that big one does. I also think I forgot to mention that I just colored these with color pencils. For the flowers, I took a large petal, then the next size down, and just glued the little petals together like that. And then I chose one of the smaller petals and put it on top. So I'm just stacking these little guys up, just like that for now. So once I got them stacked and glued together, I just put them into the palm of my hand, took the end of my embossing folder and pressed in the center, and that gave me the dimension on those flowers that I was looking for. So again, just press the middles of those. Now you may not use all of these flowers and that's no big deal, but what I found is I go ahead and assemble them, and that way if I need them in future projects, I can have them. Just stick them in maybe a little container or a Ziploc bag for future use. Now these little guys I left flat, and I'll show you that when we put them on the card. The next thing I want to do is add a little bit of bling to the middle of these flowers. So I have a little bling here. This is some green little sequiny bead, actually they're little bling, little rhinestones. I'm going to put that into the middle of these larger flowers. So as you can see, I just went ahead and added bling to the middle of all of those little dimensional flowers, but not the little ones. Not going to worry about those. So now before I start to assemble the card, I'm going to put foam tape on the back of these little carrots because they get popped up in my final design, because I think it looks cute to have some of the carrots laying flat and then some of them popped up. So just the 2 small ones. And I went ahead while I was at it and put the foam tape on the back of my little banner piece. I forgot one thing. This little snail is from my stamp set called It's in the Mail. I forgot about that little guy. So we're going to stamp him down in the far corner of the card because I just thought he was cute when the card was popped up to have a little springtime snail on the card. And this piece goes on the inside of the card. This is 4 by 5 1/4. So now we can start to assemble. So you can see I still have not folded anything. We're still working flat. This is the front of the card. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to go ahead and put this guy down. So this one just gets a little edge around just like you normally would on the inside of a card. But this gives us a place to write on the inside of the card. Now back to the front. I like to work with the flat parts first. Now this little piece, I pop it up just a little bit on some foam tape. So I just did 1 thickness of some thin foam tape, and then he is just going to go right on the top of our little centerpiece. How cute. So we're starting to build the card. Now I went ahead and did the folding at this point because then I could see where everything needed to land. So it's really important that you crease these folds so you can get that stand-up effect. So there's the regular card. Now for these pieces, the first score line you come to, you're going to fold up. That's going to bring your plaque up. See how that does? The second one you're going to fold back. So now you'll have something like this. The last one you fold to yourself. You're kind of creating an M on the side. Can you see how that kind of looks like an M? Okay, then it will be ready to brace on your little happy piece that you've made that's going to go here. I'm going to peel off the little foam here. I think this will be cute. And then just place this little guy where I want him. Just like that. Now we can start putting all the pretties on the card. I'm going to go ahead and put the butterfly piece. Remember I told you I did the white one and I put a little wink, I did the yellow one. I put a little wink of Stella on it, but I didn't really love how it looked. So I thought it'd be cute to add this little white glitter one on top of it. So I'm adding a little art glitter glue And I'm just going to kind of offset it a little bit so it'll kind of be like a white and yellow butterfly, something like that. Now to add all our other goodies, I'm going to lay it down like this so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start with this little bunny head. He gets glued to the little purple edge here at the bottom. So put a little glue on the back of him. And then just put him into place. I think he's adorable, peeking up like that. Then for our carrots, the carrots get my first set of carrots get glued right here to this front flap, okay? So I'm going to take a large carrot. This is just how I did the card. You can certainly do it any old way you want to. No foam tape. This one's just glue. I'm going to put it here in this area. Now this is a pretty dimensional and pretty kind of spread out card. It might be one you have to make a special envelope for, or just hand it to someone just like it is. This is another large carrot, and I put it kind of down at the bottom, just like so. Then on top of these two carrots is one of the small ones that have the little foam tape to kind of give some dimension to all those carrots. So let me lay this flat and you can see where those went. You see I put them up underneath that score line so that they would pop up when the card stands up. So that's where the first set of carrots go. My other carrots went right here in the fold area. So I put 2 carrots over here. 2 carrots, that's funny, like a diamond. So 1 carrot goes on that little fold like so. And then the one with the foam tape, the little one I did with the foam tape, goes on top of it. So this little guy just kind of crisscrosses him, just for cutesy. Alright, the next thing we need to do is add some flowers. And my flowers went here in this area. I thought they were really pretty there. So I started with a big flower. Just put some glue down and then put my little flower into it. And I like how it overlaps and hangs off. I think that's cute because when you stand the card up, it stands up too. Then you remember me telling you about those little flowers? Let me show you what I did with those. I just put some dots of glue down around that flower. And then, using my pickup stick, I just stuck some of these into that glue to give some flowers into the background as well. And then, one of the medium flowers goes right here. Again, I thought it was cute to have a little flower here, so I just added one right here. Now on my original card I didn't do this, but I think these will be cute over here in this corner just for some symmetry or for some weight to add at least that one over here in the corner just for cutesy. And now you can stand this card up. Now you may have to do a little manipulation of your folds. So you want to do a little test and see how it does. See how it's popping in the back a little bit? Here's how you fix it. Lay this down and then you're going to crease this one more time with your bone folder really well. So if you're having this issue, make sure this line at your card fold is creased super tight. Then when you go to stand it up, it will lock in to where it should be. See that? Isn't that super cute? I'm trying to pick it up so it'll stay locked. Check it out. That's how it does. I think you could make this card into 9 million different kinds of cards. So this is the one we just did together, and then this little guy is the one I did earlier. So they're pretty similar, a couple of little changes, but you can see they're pretty close. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. Melody really gave me a challenge on this one, but it was fun to do. I'm going to challenge you guys. Make this card and share it with me on our Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I. I would love to see what you guys come up with your decorating of the card front. And if you're interested in any of the supplies that I carry in my store, I'll have a link to that below. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.